The explosion had been deafening, a ripple that tore through the atmosphere with the force of 1,000 storms. In the few moments before everything was obliterated, Elizabeth's mind raced. It wasn't supposed to end like this. Not here, not now. The small cave she had taken refuge in was the only place the predator cubs had found comfort after their mother had been killed in a skirmish. Now, they too were on the brink of death. Her heart clenched as she scooped up the fragile creatures, their eyes wide with terror, their bodies shaking from the blast's tremors. She curled them close to her chest, willing them to stay alive. "Hold on," she whispered, though she wasn't sure they could understand her. "I won't let you die." The blast seemed to last forever, a pressure that crushed her chest and left her gasping for air. But when it finally passed, when the world fell eerily silent, Elizabeth dared to open her eyes. The air was thick with smoke and dust. The once vibrant forest had become a charred wasteland. The cubs were still breathing, their little bodies warm against her chest. She managed to stumble to her feet, clutching them as if they were the last thing that mattered. Her head spun. The ground seemed to tilt beneath her. Was it the after-effects of the blast, or had she been knocked unconscious? Before she could answer that question, a series of lights cut through the haze. The ships, sleek and silver, hovered above her. They were human ships, unmistakably so, but there was something different about them. The symbols on their sides were unfamiliar like any she had seen in her lifetime of service to Earth's military. A voice crackled through a communicator strapped to her wrist, its tone urgent yet oddly calm. "Elizabeth, you are alive." Elizabeth blinked in confusion. She hadn't heard that voice in years. It was Evans, the man who had once been her partner in more ways than one. But why was he speaking to her like this? The last time she had seen him was during a mission to the outer planets. It hadn't ended well, and they had both parted ways afterward, each burdened with their own scars. "Evan," she croaked, barely recognizing the rasp in her own voice. What happened?" There was a pause, and then Evan's voice returned, softer now. "You shielded them, Elizabeth?" "The predator cubs. You saved them." The realization hit her like a cold wave. She had done it. She had shielded them, protected them. But at what cost? You're going to be okay," Evan continued. "We'll get you out of there." But when Elizabeth tried to stand taller to make sense of the situation, something strange began to happen. The dust in the air began to clear, revealing the outlines of the ships now circling her. And as the ships landed, figures stepped out, figures wearing armor that gleamed in the hazy sunlight. They weren't human, they were alien. Elizabeth instinctively took a step back, her body protective of the cubs in her arms. The creatures didn't seem to pose a threat, but the strange energy emanating from them was enough to put her on edge. They had the same height and posture as humans, but their skin was a pale, silvery blue, their eyes almost luminous in their intensity. Their mouths opened in what seemed like a strange, unspoken greeting. "We are the anti-one of them," said, its voice melodic and soothing. "You have proven yourself worthy." Elizabeth stared at the creature, trying to comprehend what was happening. Worthy of what? The alien motioned toward the cubs in her arms. "Of guardianship. The ones you shielded are the last of their kind. They are the key to a new future. A future where Earth is protected as you have protected them." Her heart skipped a beat. "You mean, these cubs?" "Yes," the auntie answered simply. "They are the guardians of Small. And you, Elizabeth, are their chosen protector." It was a lot to process, too much for her mind to grasp. She looked down at the cubs, still nestled against her chest, their eyes wide and innocent. But there was a wisdom in their gaze that unsettled her. They were small, too small to understand the weight of what had just occurred, but they were important, she realized. They were everything now. "What do you mean, guardians of Small?" Elizabeth asked, her voice shaking. The auntie moved closer. The predators were once the guardians of the planet's ecosystems, but they were hunted to extinction by a warfaring species. These cubs are the last hope to restore balance to Earth's environment. The words seemed to echo through Elizabeth's mind. The last hope. She had unknowingly shielded the most important creatures to ever walk this planet, and yet she was only beginning to understand the true significance of her actions. Evan's voice came through the communicator again, his concern evident. "Elizabeth, are you all right? We need to get you to the medical bay. The blast left you injured." "I'm fine," she lied, though she could feel the bruises beneath her skin. the exhaustion creeping into her bones. "But there's something else, Evan. Something more important than any of us realized." The auntie looked at her, their expressions unreadable. "You are the guardian now, Elizabeth. You must protect them, and with them, protect Earth." The weight of the responsibility settled on her shoulders like 1,000 tons of stone. She had never asked for this. She had never wanted to be anyone's savior. But here she was, standing at the edge of a new world, one where the fate of Earth lay in the hands of a human woman, and the last. Surviving predators, Elizabeth's eyes hardened with resolve. "Then I'll do it," she said, her voice steady despite the overwhelming force of the moment. "I'll protect them. All of them,